I want you to imagine the following scenario for me. You're tired, you're sick, you don't want to perform. This could be for many reasons. Maybe you had a couple too many cold ones. Throwing back some wet ones with the boys, if you know what I mean. So you make the participant the magician. They're instructed to have you pick any card in the deck. You show that card to the remainder of the audience. That card is then lost in the deck that they shuffle in their own hands. You name the card. The card was the 8 of spades. They wave their hand over the deck and they see that the card is completely gone. There's no 8 of spades in the deck. However, inside the card box, there's one card and one card alone, and it happens to be the 8 of spades. No duplicates, no extra cards, no sleight of hand. You might be asking yourself, how is that possible? Well, my friends, lucky for you, you have a little bit of a magic genius here on this channel. It's going to show you exactly how you could do that trick. Now for this, you are going to require a couple things. Number one is the missing piece deck, the deck that's out right now. It's my own deck of playing cards. You could find it linked down below, but once they're gone, they're gone. So make sure to get your hands on these puppies before you can't anymore. You're going to take the 8 of spades from this deck and you're going to place it inside of the card box. However, you're going to place it with the flap downward. So in other words, there's a card and the flap is down. You're then going to take the 7 of spades. Here's the clever part of this trick, and you're going to mark the back. Now there are about 100 different ways to mark the back of a card. The easiest way is to take something like a knife and scrape the edge, in this case the upper left edge of both sides. And all I've done is I've taken a little time to mark that card so you see that there's a difference in color between that card and the other cards that are in the pack. Now if you want, what you could do is you could really play this trick up, because essentially what you're going to do is guide the participant in doing a magic trick. So you could do this with a set of written instructions that you've written beforehand. You could do this with an audio tape that maybe you have playing on your phone, where the instructions are being given to the participant as they go along with the trick. Or if you want, you could just tell them what to do as they do it. But as you can see, there's ample opportunity for play here. You could have a trick that plays for one person that could just play to easily 100 people with just a small change. However, regardless, you're going to tell the participant to mix and shuffle the deck. And you're going to guide them through a trick. You're going to say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of doing the magic. Maybe you should do a trick for change. Don't worry. I'll guide you through what you got to do. And you tell the participant in a moment what's going to happen is that you're going to mix the deck and you're going to have me, the participant, select any card I want. So the participant takes the deck and they're going to spread it out to you. And all I'm doing is looking for my little marking. That's all I'm doing. I'm looking for the card with the marking. In this case, it's going to be the 7 of spades. So remember, they are spreading the cards towards you. I'm just going to take the opportunity to look for the marking and quickly place it against my chest as I select that card. Now here is the subtlety of this particular trick, because one of the things that I hankered on was I wanted to be able to show the card to other participants. Because if I just go right now and look at this card and later on miscall, which is going to be the method, when you miscall the 8 of spades, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be a good thing. You want to show the card to the other participants. So the way you do this is as follows. Look at this clever bit. I'm going to hold the card against my chest and then I'm going to pull the card out like this. So right now I'm going to use my thumb to cover both the 7 on this side and the 7 on this side. Let me make sure it's in focus here. So right now, if I hold this card against my chest and I show it to a participant, it's going to look like the 8 of spades. Now later on in the routine, I'm going to have the participant have me name the card out loud, and I'm of course going to say the 8 of spades. The other participants that I showed this card to are going to be able to verify to that fact, because they also apparently saw the 8 of spades. However, they saw the 7, baby. So far, you've had them pick a card from the deck at random, and you've shown it to other participants. However, you've shown them what they think is the 8 of spades. You then tell the participant to tell you to place that card anywhere I want into the middle of the pack. As a matter of fact, I'm going to shuffle it in there to make sure that that card is lost. The participant then tells you this instruction, and you go, whoa, this is so fair. And you could play up the fairness of the procedure as you go along. Now, if you want, what you could do beforehand, before you start with anything, is that you could have the participant instruct you to look inside of the card box and make sure there's nothing special. The way that you could do this is by simply undoing the flap, putting my finger in, and just going, yeah, it is empty. Look at that. Oh, wow, okay. Placing it down back on the table. All I'm doing here is I'm unflapping the card, I'm sticking my finger in, bending the card, and just rubbing it around. Now, if I tilt it up, it just looks like there's nothing in the card box. That's of course completely optional if you decide to have the card end up in the card box. Because do keep in mind that with this method, you can have the card end up anywhere you want. As a matter of fact, you can even have the card planted in the participant's pocket, and at the end they reach into their pocket and they pull out the 8 of spades and it becomes a whole crazy thing. So now all you have to do is instruct the participant to wave their hand over the pack and claim that the card is going to vanish. You then tell them to tell you to say the card out loud for the first time. At this point, I look at a different participant and I go, it's the 8 of spades, right? It was the 8 of spades. And I wait for them to confirm. So now not only do I confirm the card, but they confirm the card. They're then to take the deck face up and to show the fact that the 8 of spades is completely gone from the pack. They could look at this deck with a microscope and they're not going to find the card because, well, the card is not in the deck. And here you could tell them to make the bold claim that the card has vanished and has now reappeared inside of the card box. Of course, you now look through the card box and you find the card there. Or you could place the card in their pocket before the trick starts, or you could have the card placed in an impossible location. But look at what you get. You're guiding them through a magic trick, which is already a novel approach as it is. The card is picked, the card is shown to a different participant, that card vanishes from the deck, no sleight of hand, and impossibly appears somewhere else. It almost makes you want to join the PigCake Magic Academy, the home of over 1,500 videos going over card stuff, coin stuff, everything you need to become the best magician you could possibly be. Subtleties like this are taught in the academy, so imagine if you get this for free on YouTube, what you get for the low price of a White Claw a month, a single White Claw a month on the PigCake Magic Academy. Rave reviews all around, everyone says the best thing since sliced bread, so why don't you pick up a piece of toast yourself? There are so many ways to handle this particular line of thinking where the participant is the one that is doing the magic, because you could get away with so much. In this case, I get away with everything by just simply covering the pips on that 7 and making it seem like the 8. And you could really play around with this. I've done this with a fake signature, where I seemingly show the card to a participant and sign it myself before putting it into the deck. That card subsequently vanishes and ends up in the impossible location, signed. Little fun things like that. But they become the magician and you still get the credit. Some advice at the end of the video. Oh boy, I've really been playing around with this knife sharpener. I mentioned this in the last one. This is a really good one. I can't tell you how much I recommend this as a novice when it comes to knives. It's really a fun one because I've gotten what are really shitty knives and I've sharpened them. This, for example, belonged to my landlord's deceased grandfather, and to Smith & Wesson, just a little shitty pocket knife. The metal is garbage, and before it couldn't hold a point. I used this, the Work Sharp sharpener on this, and now it's a razor sharp. I could cut through anything with this thing. Now, I don't know if it's gonna hold the edge, but it's definitely a lot sharper than I could have gotten it before with the pull-throughs and the diamond stones that I had before. Just maybe with a ceramic rod and the stropping. It's just a tremendous little thing, and I highly recommend it if you are into knives. I know that I'm getting into things like this. Maybe it's trying to make up for all the fact that my dad wasn't in my life. So now in my 30s is when I'm getting into these manly things like knives and guns. So my advice is don't dismiss this Work Sharp sharpener.
I see you again, when 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 I see you again.